Hey YouTube, what's up? How's it going? I am Sean Rakowski, Code Mage, and we're building a fantasy console. I'm gonna turn the music down here a little bit. All right. So I think the last thing I probably worked on was making it so that the this comes out looking a little bit more like a TI-83 calculator, where each individual pixel has kind of definition within it. You can kind of see, I don't know if it comes across in the stream very well, but there's a bit of a, like there's lines, a little bit of pixelation. I don't know if that's clear at this resolution or not, maybe. But if we up it, maybe it's a little more clear there. So I worked on that. Oh, and then there's this bug I'm going to have to fix eventually. But today I wanted to get working on all of the... Well, there's two things I want to accomplish today. First, it's to fill in this palette. So I'll be doing a little bit of non-coding to start. It'll actually be some work on looking at colors. And then I want to get all of these, or as much of this done as I can, except for this one. So the sprite one is probably what I'll do next. And then I think after I get the sprites done, what I'm going to have to do is do some refactoring to make sure everything is a little bit more solid. There's something I want to change about this menu, so that the tab is just the first item in the list, and so it's in a list of lists, so it's easier than doing tuples and lists and tuples. So there's some enhancements and things I want to do, but today it's getting the palette figured out here, and then the graphics screen, getting some of those features together so I can work on that. So the first thing that I kind of need to do here is go to the display chip and look at the actual color palette that I have so far. So, and then also this right here. I'm going to actually take the... So right now when I run it, I have a slightly different color back here than I do in here. And I think I want to make that uniform. So the question is does this become truly transparent then? Which it kind of needs to be, because the zero width, it's the absence of color. So what I want to do is take this, change that to transparent. I'm going to copy that into here. Which is, again, it's just a slightly different color. And I originally did that shading difference to try to get the feel that there's a, here's this section that's, whoa. That is not what I would expect. Oh, you know what? So we do this shade. But we only really want to do this if we actually have an alpha channel to work with. So, and this needs to include alpha. I think. Yeah. So it takes a little bit of the So this is interesting. I need to rethink this maybe. Because it works, but it takes out that styling that I'm looking for the shading. So it's kind of like I need to know whether or not, you know, this color transparent, like I have to have it transparent, but I need to know, is it transparent because, it's basically what I need to do is say, well, if this is a truly transparent color, then set the shade equal to this color here. So, it's not even, okay, so a sprite needs to know that it's, that there's a transparent, like a masking, um, hmm. But when I'm actually drawing it, what that does is it just tells it not to draw. So this color doesn't actually need to be transparent. But I do need to specify that this is basically the absence of color. But that's only, again, when copying. That's only really when we're copying over sprites. So I'll just try putting that back in there for now, and we'll come back to that later. But anyway, so what I wanted to do was start thinking about color palette here. And what I was thinking about doing is taking the, so Pico 8 is kind of like a well-known fantasy console, and the color palette, let me see if I can find the color palette, is released under Creative Commons. I don't want to use it exactly. I want to actually go to the, I thought there was an actual page on their site that specifies the 16-bit color. But maybe I'll just use this. So I know it's under Creative Commons. But what I wanted to do is basically get a archetype for a set of color palettes that we know works well. So I'm not sure how they use their black, but it would be, I need a dark color or an equivalent black, an equivalent dark blue, and this is what a dark, well, hey, I can use these names right here, right? And I don't want to use the colors exactly. I just want to get the archetypal. It's interesting, there's like no dark. There's almost a perfect red, but there's no dark red. wonder why they chose green, blue, purple. But nothing, well, and brown's kind of your yellowish, dark yellow. Lavender. It's like a mauve color. Okay, so I also am having 16 colors that kind of match up with this a little bit. Again, there has to be a transparency, but maybe I only have to think about that in terms of the maybe I only really need to think about that in terms of the sprites, and then figure out there how you store that in data, because it's only going to have 16 colors to store, so one of them has to be the mask, saying this is transparent. I suppose I could have that set as part of the program, or yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about how I'm going to do that. But what I'm looking for here then, so I want to start with this base color, and I'm just going to use the, oh man, I'm going to use the color picker that's in here. So it's, I need to drink more coffee, I think. I'm not really cruising on all cylinders here. Hello. Okay. So this is BC C1 9C. Oh, hello, come on. BC C1 9C is my primary base color that I'm currently using. And then I had my black figured out here. Can I just design? Ooh. Where does it actually add it? Do I have to select one and then say? Oh. I said, where does it add it? Huh. How do you actually create a new palette in here is what I wonder. I've never actually done this in paint.net before, so bear with me. Okay, so if you click on it, it becomes highlighted and starts to blink. Click the icon to add the active color to the palette. The icon will become highlighted. The palette surround will blink. Okay, it doesn't do that. Right? Oh, okay. I see. Then I go like that. Ah, okay. Perfect. So I can just kind of use these bottom colors, and then I'll save that here. So this one will end up being moved likely, but I'm gonna get the colors I've decided on in here, which is that one. It's 57, 55, 40. Like that is what I'm using currently as my black, which is just kind of like an olive colored black. But when you run, that's the color that gets is actually displaying here. So on the actual dark pixels. And part of that is because these get switched out based on the yeah, these get switched out based on the or they add the bit of shading on there. Sorry, like I said, my brain is operating slow this morning. Okay, so this color ends up being our what, like almost like our transparent white. This is our dark black. Okay, so they don't actually have a white in here, do they? Well, they do eventually have a white. So they're going from dark to kind of a different range here, but I don't have to follow this exactly as long as I keep track of which colors I've used up. And that I'll have to figure out what I'm going to sacrifice to the transparent color. But so this is my dark black, quote unquote, which is really a darkish green. Now we need a dark blue. I wonder what would happen if I do 85 and 64. So take the green out of it. Could be maybe my dark purple, but it's not really a blue. It's more of like a mauve color. So we're gonna try, we'll try this as dark purple, maybe. I'm just gonna copy these as oh. I should have undone that, so. So this was, before it was 85, 64. And this color should be saved down here. Okay. So let's get that dark blue figured out. So what if I take out, I need it to be sharper on this one. And then I need it to go less on the reds. So let's even out the reds and the greens. And let's increase this just a little bit more. We can adjust the ratios down later. Okay. It's still kind of purplish, isn't it? Might be getting too dark now. And this is probably not purple enough here. Let's go with that for dark. Well, and remember, it'll actually get a shade darker when I actually shade it. So maybe there. That's fine. So we've got a dark blue. I'm going to adjust this dark purple quick and make it more apparently purple. Yeah, that seems pretty good. And then we need a dark green, which is going to be, I mean, you could think of that as my black here is very much a dark green. It's a dark greenish. It's kind of a whatever you get when you mix red and green together. An olive color, I suppose. In fact, I probably should adjust this to make it a little bit more, a little darker and a little bit just slightly darker. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's fine there. Okay, well, let's... Oh, my dog is scratching to get in. I'll go let him in quick. Buddy. Lay down. That. Okay, so we'll come back to this dark green. So a brownish color is already kind of what we have, but this is kind of brown. It's like a reddish. This is effectively your dark red, I believe, is what it kind of comes down to. I don't want to use this color exactly, but I basically need this kind of ratio here of reds to greens. So I think if I just increase the red here up from where I was until I get into that brownish space. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let's save that one off. Okay, I'm going to come back and revisit this though. I think I'm going to make this darker. Not darker, but even out my shades a bit so that it's more of a true black. So there's no, it is a shade of gray. But maybe I still keep, you know, a little bit of a difference there. So I add a little bit on the blue red side. So we go maybe 70 70 and 64. So let's try that out. Or no, it's 46 46 40. Sorry again, this isn't exactly coding, but you know, that works. It's a little darker than what I had it before, but it's more noticeably black. I do, okay. So we won't make this white anymore. Let's start to fill some of these in quick. So this is my purple, but I really need a blue first. So this is 0x 36 36 96. And this color then is my purple. Yeah. '57, IE 57. No, 1E rather. IE 0x57. So this would be my dark purple. And I might have to lighten some of this up too. One thing I could do quick is to run these with foreground and background colors eventually, but all right. So then now I have a brown here, which I'm going to re-add here, and then I want to adjust this to be my dark green, which would be this color here. Again, I wonder how they do pixel, the absence of a pixel. If they have 16 colors total, so they have to store one of them as being transparent, so that maybe they just have in Pico 8 they have a particular key that says this is the transparent key, and maybe it's modifiable. Or maybe they just don't use transparency. Pico 8. Oh. So they just say that their black color is actually... yeah, okay, that makes sense. All right, so this is our brown. It should go here. 0x7c, 0x5e, 0x40. So this needs to be a dark green, to which I'm going to start with our base color here. And I'm going to give it a bit more green. And tone down the red a bit, and then darken it. So we'll go 156. And then we'll darken it down to where it feels kind of dark. Maybe there-ish. Now there might not be enough difference between this and the dark shade here. Maybe I'll make it a little greener, more noticeably green. And then darken it a little bit. And then we'll pop that right there. I think that works. Why not? This is all an experiment anyways. We can adjust these colors later. 0x 3f, 0x 5e, 0x 3f. Okay, so then we need a dark gray, which is just a... Oh, I didn't actually save that color when I adjusted it. That's great. I did adjust it over here, I think, though, maybe. 46, 46, 44. And you know what maybe I should do is make this my dark gray. And then so I'm going to copy that out, and I'm just going to save it up here as background. Or actually, this is saturated black. I'm just going to leave that there. I'm going to have these align up perfectly for a little bit. So this one ends up being, what I store here is kind of a dark gray. Which if I do this now, the background should be that dark blue. See how that looks really quick. And a black background. I think that fits pretty well. Not the black background, of course, but what I might need to do is just say if you don't. Yeah. So I don't think that that's too far apart from. Okay. All right, so now we have a light gray.
Dad, come here, Dad, come here.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
Don't come here upstairs, because the elf's somewhere you need to see.
All right, I have to go see where the elf is. I will be back momentarily. Be right. All right, sorry about that. My son had to show me where the elf is. Elf on a shelf. So, all right, let's see here. So this is, I'm at a light gray. So we're gonna just take this shade and we're gonna up this on it, make it just lighter. I want it to be about as light as this one. So let's try saving that off and then. So this is up in the 180 to 156 range. And this is not quite there. I think that would be good. So let's go with that with a light gray. Because we do need a white as well. Maybe I won't actually get to doing my drawing functions that I want today. It's taking forever. No, I'll get there. Okay. Then what we have is a white, which is going to be just a much lighter gray. I think that works. So, oh yeah, we gotta design that. After I'm done streaming and doing that, we can do that, okay?
Yeah.
Alright. So we'll go with that for our white color. 0xdd, 0xdd. 0xcc. Just for fun, let's set that as our background color quick. See how that transparency works, or how that works. Well, that's not too bad. It's kind of just a, like, it's still muted and in the vein of the surrounding color, but it adds a little bit to it. So I think that'll be fine. So that, okay, so next we have a red. Why did those two get upset with each other? Oh, because I changed them at runtime. So red, we will start with our, so now these are our kind of neutral colors. So these are our dark colors over here, from brown to this dark here. These would be our neutral colors. So we'll start with this gray, and we will tone out these two down until we get into a red range. So let's go with like a 90 maybe. And the red's not very red, but let's go saturate that up a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. I still want it to be sort of muted, but I don't want it to be too dark either. And I don't want it to be pink. Oh, I think we're about there. Maybe lighten that color up a little bit. Let's try about there. So compared to this gray, which is in the 158s range for the top number, this goes up and it evens out. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good red. So this is 0x B4, 0x 4a, 4a. Okay, so that's red. So we made it this far. Now we need an orange. So an orange has a ratio of a lot of red, a little bit more green, and then like no blue. So we'll start here and we'll up our green and we'll go down on our, we'll go down on this until we reach a nice orange shade. And then I think we want to lighten this up a little bit if we can. Yeah, I think that's fine. Let's make that our orange. Oops. T6, 0x 68, and 0x20. Orange. Okay. I don't know why I actually put specific colors in here. Oops, this is... Wait a minute, what am I missing here? 0, 1, 2. Did I start them starting at 1 before? Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Whoa. Okay, well anyways, it'll all work itself out. We need an orange, we got that. We need a yellow. Okay, so yellows are produced by saturating red and green and then taking blue out of the equation entirely. We don't want to do that, so we'll start with our orange and then we'll just up the green into that yellow range. And I think we want to subdue this a little bit. Just remove some of the saturation. And make it just slightly darker. Although we don't want it too green. So let's take some of this blue out. And we'll up the red a little bit. It's kind of an ugly yellow, isn't it? Let's go up on the color there. It's more of like a gold. But let's do that. Why not? If I don't make this higher, it's going to be very greeny. So you can see how easily by subtracting I get into the green range or the orange range. I think that's good. Let's go with that for our yellow. So that is 0x dd 0 d2 0x11. All right. So after yellow and orange, we have a straight up green. To do green, I'm going to start here. I'm going to bring that up, this down. And this down as well. Until I get into a very pastel-y green. That feels pretty good. Let's go with that. I don't know how any of these colors are actually going to work together. We'll see. 0x7d, 0xcc, 0x7c. Okay, so our next one is a blue, which we will take our blue that we had from before. Did I say it? Yeah, I did. Okay, good. And we will just make that lighter. So we'll bring this up. Nope. To a level that is in the much brighter range. The other thing I could do here is invert these red colors. So 186 to 74. And see how that works. And then I reduce this to 74. Which gives me this kind of nice shade of blue that's kind of akin to the red, but it's a little bit darker than I want it to be, because this is my dark blue here. So let's bring it up just a little. There we go. Let's go with that. 0x51. 0x51, 0xcc. And after blue we have lavender, which I believe this is almost lavender colored, but I'm gonna have to look up what lavender is. Oh, let me bring up that Pico 8 palette if I can. Wherever it went, it will allow me to bring it up. There we go. So they have kind of a, it's like a, again, it's more like a mauve. Maybe is it the way to think of it? I like their colors better in this range, but mauve. So it's like it's a light purple, but it's more on the blue side. So let's start with our purple color. We'll bring the saturation way up. Or what is this? Not saturation. Vibrancy. We'll subdue that a bit down. This is more of along the lines of a pink. Or a dark purple. Lavender's more bluish. So let's take some of the red out of the equation until we get a more lavender-y color. And then it's just like it's no, that's getting a bit too bluish. We want to be kind of like in that sweet spot. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to copy their color in and then I'm going to adjust it. Paste. So this is like a very pastel-y color like I have over here. It's the colors are all very close to each other. Let's brighten it up a little bit. And then let's pull out a little bit of green. Just make it a slightly darker color. Yeah, that works. Let's go with that. So that was after our green. Oh, wait, did I forget my blue in here? Yeah, I did. Darn it. Oh well, I'll save it twice and then I'll come back and get the blue in there. Which is 7D CC 7C. Ah. D. No. Red, green, blue. 7D CC. Oh no, no, no. 5454 CC. Darn it. Damn it, come on. There we go. So we'll save that there. And then we will go with our, get our lavender copy over. So anything that is drawn in the Pico H should be able to be drawn over here. But it's going to look way different. Not way different. It'll look just a lot, like all the colors will look just off. 67. And then AA. Okay, so we need a pink. And then a light peach. And with pink, what we'll do is we'll start with our red. And we'll up the saturation on blue. And then we will subdue all of that. And then maybe brighten it up a little bit. Yeah, that's not too bad. Huh. I just realized that this is a 16-bit color palette right here. Within that, I could have probably followed this sequence of colors too, if I wanted to. In fact, it's probably pretty close onto that. If you started with white and kind of worked your way over and took this one out of the equation, which is the black, which really represents our background color. So this is C9, 0x5C, and then 0xC9. Should I throw a curveball and make my last one not light peach? Which color is light peach? And you know what I want to do is this very close to peach buff? It is, but I'm going to call it peach puff instead of light, and I'm just going to use the straight up peach puff color. I always thought peach puff was an interesting color, so let's make that 255, 218, 185. So it's like total red, 218, 185. But I'm going to drop it down just a little bit. There we go. I just realized that that's a white skin tone. That's weird. All right, so let's copy that over in there. You know, I'm going to save this palette as MIE-83. C4, 0xA7. Okay. So that's all of our colors. Now we need to fix all the damage I just did by because I've got this bluish in here now. So what I need to do is say that if the color I'm copying over is black or 0, then just use the background color, I think. And that's in 2 places. So one, if I'm copying a sprite, then I only copy over, or if my fill color is that, then I wouldn't copy over black when I'm actually drawing anything. But also, if I do have black, which is basically indicative of no paint, then what I do is I would override it to be this background color. So and so this is my override here. So what I could do is if color equals otherwise it just stays the way it is, and then it still shades it. So that gives me this. And I need to change this so that it uses the dark gray for the actual color for the foreground in the system. And the thing I can do is actually do that in the operating system here. Although I could make this a editable feature here, but I could run set foreground to the color 5. Is that what I said it was? Yeah. I wonder if I set it to my light gray, how that looks. Not great. What if I set it to my white? Yeah. So I think these colors are going to work out fine. So we'll change that back to 5. Now the interesting thing is that whenever the programs run, I really need to set these colors back to what the default was. So when I do run program here, it's almost like you need to push and pop. So after the programs run, I need to set the background back to 0 and the foreground back to 5. Like that. Oh. And then I need to... There. And I will call that right here as well. Okay. Okay, so that sets up my color palette. That took way longer than expected. But I can do... I'm going to have to eventually move that all in here, but just to keep note of it, I'm going to do... copy this into here. I think I should be able to just fix this by... 0x00, 0x00, 0x00. I don't know if I spelled transparent. Looks all wrong there. Transparent. Okay. Or is it translucent? the correct term here. All right, let's save that up and keep spelling palette wrong. And again, I might change that depending on how things play out. Okay, so let's start on graphics mode here. So graphics screen is kind of like the home screen, but it's basically its own buffer. And now the display itself has a max resolution that it supports. And I think what I'm going to do is have the... So I could have it so that the graphics buffer always operates at this max resolution. So that the space is always there. But when you have it at a lower resolution, it only actually captures, you know, a rectangle from that data set, which is basically what I did on this front here. So I found the max supported width and height, and then that's what I set up for the display buffer there. And I do need to do the render, which for the home screen was to go through and actually generate out all of those things. Here it'll be just to copy its buffer over. So when I create the home screen, graphics screen, I pass the computer. That was weird. Oh, interesting. I've got a on resolution change there. So, I mean, I could have the buffer dynamically grow or not as the display changes. I think that's why I'm running into problems right now with the with it to begin with. But I think that one has to know where the bounds are for drawing, because it's got to do things like wrapping text and stuff like that, whereas this one isn't going to wrap text. So let's just, you know what, just for the sake of getting this one, I'm just going to follow the same procedure. I'm going to get these two values. And then I'm going to multiply them to get the size of the buffer. So I'll take the max width times the max height. And actually, I could make this a, you know what I'll do is make this a, just to make it easier, I'll make it a multi-dimensional array. That way I can index right into where I want to go for pixels, instead of having to So just like the home screen, the graphics screen supports a variety of different things here. So I think, you know, we had clear home, which will make it display the graphics screen. And any of these things will have it automatically swap over to the graphics screen. Although I think there is a display graph screen in here. Or not a display, on the home screen. There's a display graph, so I might have a disp home. Which will then bring it over to the home screen in the same way that this is just display graph. So if I'm on the graphics screen, I can say, hey, go to the home screen, and so on and so forth. So, well, you know what, we'll just comment this out for now. And I'm going to add in, just like there's display graph here, I'm going to add in a just to keep them consistent with each other. Move that up there. I'm probably going to skip doing these ones today, and I'll do those down here next time, because that's going to take some thought too. I'm just going to get into actually drawing and coloring. Okay. I might change some of these terms too, because this is like stroke and fill versus set foreground and background. That's effectively the same procedure. So when you're setting your foreground, what you're really doing is setting your stroke, and possibly your fill, but there is a slight difference to them. So what I could do is, instead of saying this, is that the stroke is always the foreground color. Make this a system thing. So it's not just based on this. It's actually up here. And then instead of using the stroke for drawing, it always uses the foreground. And then if you have so fill only really applies to this rectangle and the circle for now, and then any other shapes that eventually I might want to include. So I could, instead of doing this, is have a fill on the end here. And then just simplify this down like that. Although see, the TI-83 didn't have color palettes, so this never really applied to them. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with that. That'll simplify this down. So set background and foreground is a universal thing. That gets set. Oh, and this should be default to 5 now. And I'm going to move this to the computer. Like that. In fact, I could probably, yeah, I'll just leave it here. And then just to make it so that this works easier, what I'll do back here is just create an accessor like this. And then this will be, and I'll have to move this at some point. Oh, these will not switch automatically. In fact, why don't I just then take these off of here entirely, move them up to the computer. Like that. And then in my program, I'll move these up. There. So that takes that out of there. The other thing I could do is I don't have display graph put in here. I might move those up to the system level too. Display home, display graph. So they don't really belong in here. And they are just literally literally just this. So I can take that out and move these up. Just the home screen. So just to the graphics screen. And then in my program, I can register those as up here, display home, display graph. And these are just straight up actions. Like that. Cool. Did I take get key out? Or no, I moved get key from the home screen as well. Although it's technically there. I'm going to redo input at some point in time because I've got too many places where the input buffers are. So that's for another day though. Okay. So I need to set up my graphics screen to do. I was going to do these later. And then I got rid of fill and stroke. And I'm going to make it so that circle have the option to fill. You know, though, if you wanted to do a different color than what your background is, it would kind of make sense to have a different fill. So maybe I do have a set fill. And then I just use foreground, background, system colors for drawing. Although I could have the background color be the fill, if you think about it. So the operation would be to do a filled rectangle or filled circle would be to set the background color to, you know, some, you know, other color, and then set the fill. The other thing that I don't know is if we need a line width here, but I suppose I can extend this later to do that. So anyways, let's just get going here. So we have public void clear draw. And this should set it to display the graphics screen. And then it should do, why do I provide a palette index here to clear? I don't think I did that on the home screen. Yeah, no. So when you clear, the background screen is always, or the background is always whatever's in the BG. So anyways, that should be fine. So what we would say is this is a multi-dimensional array, right? Get length. Am I just missing something here? Pretty sure on a multi-dimensional array. Oh, it's get length. Good morning. Let's see here. Okay, so then what we do is we set the buffer at y, x to the computer's background color. Which is stored as an integer, but it's definitely not an integer. So we do that. Okay, so that clears it and switches to there. Then we have the ability to turn on a specific pixel. I'm just going to check something real quick. One second. Okay. So pixel will turn the pixel on. So this should be fairly simple. Void pixel x, y finds location. Well, first of all, it will, any of these will cause display graph to run. And then what it will do is it will take the buffer, or sorry, first if the x is less than the 0 or x is greater than the buffer dot get length, 1. Or, so what we're doing is a bounds check. And saying if it's not inside there, then do we really draw it at all? We don't. Otherwise, we just say our buffer at x, y, or yx rather, is equal to the foreground. So system, or sorry, computer.foreground. Okay. And of course, we have to store that as a byte. Okay, so that's that. So now if I run this, well, I've got to register those commands. But let's turn on some pixels. Why don't we? So we will go to our program. We will copy a couple of these over. So this one would be graphics screen dot clear draw. And same with this one would be graphics screen dot pixel. Takes 2 integers. And it is our computer dot graphics screen dot pixel. Okay. So those should register it. Now I need to come down to here, and I need to actually, not here, I need to go back to my graphics screen, and I need to implement the render feature, which says take the, which is basically a copy of what I've got over. So think about it. This is done by just accessing the buffer directly, I believe. So the things are inverted, and it will automatically return or skip if it's too big. This should be that. Just like that does. So I should be able to just do a flat out, straight up, for each copy. And then it will automatically figure out whether it needs to copy. So display at yx equals buffer at yx. I'm sure there's like an array.copy I could use, maybe. That would speed this up. But let's just turn on so we'll edit that, and it will be this graph. Well, we can do clear graph. Clear draw will bring us to where we want to go. And then we'll be pixel for let's say x in range 16. And I've got to work on the editor, so it's friendly to Python actually, but pixel at x with y being, let's just say 10. We're going to set foreground to our x value, and then we'll draw the pixels that way. Now what'll happen is that I don't have a way to pause, and pause is really a different, so I'd have to run a get key here, which will block, I believe, until I press a key. Okay. Let's try running that. Nope. Why did that not run the way I expected to? Or no, get key is a like a wait. So what I would need to do is say get key, which should clear it, and then, well, I think that's like that. Would that work in Python? Try that. Oh, that did not like that. Well, it sort of did. It just didn't switch it over to graphics mode where it didn't clear. So if I ran it, you see, like, it... Like, I feel like this is running correctly because it was paused for a second, but this is not getting run the way I'd expect it. So I'm getting brought over to the clear draw, but then active mode is graphics screen. And this should run it to the display. So graphics screen. This should be getting run. Let's try that out. We'll just click onto the end here. Okay. But it's only getting run once. So what I'm going to try to do here, just to make this seemingly work, is I'm going to go to the home screen. I'm going to take out on my pause here, which maybe pause shouldn't be a home screen thing either, because it doesn't really need to be. So then we go into here and we edit our colors, and then let's just make this pause. Hey, there we go. So all of the colors you can see there are getting drawn, and actually if I decrease my resolution, it'll let me. When I run it, they should come through a little bit clearer. Yeah, so each one of those colors is getting drawn. Of course, the black one isn't. So what I can see here right now is that the purple doesn't come through very purpley, which is again hard to see, but it's not coming through all that purpley. So I might need to think about how that gets, or if I need to adjust that color up. And then my peach puff, which is the very last color, is definitely not peach puff. It is a green. So I think I copied that over wrong. So E5, C4, A7. E5, E5, C4, A7. Let's try that again. Yeah, there's our peach puff. E5, C4, A7. Okay. So I'm going to take pause out of here as well eventually, because it doesn't need to be a home screen thing. So really the only home screen commands, the really truly home screen commands, are input, clear, output, display, input, and menu. The rest are up in here. So this should be kind of by get key. Okay. And then that first color is black, so it's transparent, which makes sense. Okay, so the next thing that we might want to do is not just draw pixels, but well, you know what I should do, just so that those come across very clear, because it's probably not coming through too great, is I can augment my program to write out a range of pixels. So we'll edit this to say, set the foreground, and then or we'll make this like P, set the color to P, and then let me think here, for X in range 16. Well, I can use P to be X as well, so really this is just for, and actually I should be able to let's just scale this out, so X is really multiplied by 2. And then we add on an offset. So there's another thing here, is there's no way to copy this in the editor. So this editor really stinks. It's X times 2 plus 1. Then we'll do the next row as well. Now I could make this so it's just PXL. So, oop, that broke. So, oh, it's because P isn't, or X isn't defined at this point. I'm surprised that didn't blow up though. Should have gone to an error screen. So there, it's a little bit easier maybe to see the pixels on the actual live stream. I'm not too sure. If I pop the resolution up, then it should definitely be able to see them. Or down. And we ran into that bug again, which is something I need to fix. And it's because I'm resizing it while I'm trying to actually set values. So it's like, yeah. So there's our color range. Again, the purple isn't too purpley. The dark purple isn't. But I think it's pretty good. And again, it should be very similar to what we've got on, people are used to with the Pixel, or Pico 8 rather. Okay, so we have Pixel, we need to do a line draw. Now, lines are not as simple as you would expect. It's like there's an algorithm to line drawing, and I do not know it off the top of my head. See, there's a whole thought on it. Simplest, well, we can do that. We can always improve it. So what we do is we run so we get the difference in X and Y values. Then for X from X1 to, so for var x equals x1 to x is, so it could be greater than or less than. So if you put the, the y over here, the x over here, the x over here, I've got to go one way or the other. So I've got to know which way I'm going. Am I going up? Am I going down? So if I'm, like, I could assume that I'm always moving in a positive direction. So basically always take the, well, no, that won't work. But I could always take the, no, I couldn't. But anyway, so you take the y plus d of y and then multiply it by x minus x1. Oof. Then you plot xy. So in this case, it would be well, this would be my total in number of count of indexes if I take this. So this is the total distance I need to go on the x-axis. So what I could do here is maybe say that I'm going to go through and count each of the x values off and compute x. So if you had a -1 minus a -3, sorry, now my brain's going a little fuzzy today. And I'm not super great at math in my head. So if I go to like -1 and then I subtract off, I'm going to -3. Oops. -1 minus a -3, which is really +3, is 2. Okay, so it should, yeah, man. You don't do a lot of this kind of math on a daily basis. It's weird. So anyways, so we're going to go across our range of x, which is basically this here. But then our x value is going to be based on, so we have like a kind of like a direction. If x2 is less than x1, then we're moving in the negative direction. Otherwise, we're moving in the positive direction. Right? So here our x value would be equal to our I value offset by, or sorry, our x1 value with our I in whatever direction we're going, like that. So that gives us our x here. So then y in this case would equal our y1 plus our dy times, why would they use that instead of starring at x minus x1 divided by d of x? We'll try it, and we'll do, we will call our that. And so what we can do here is edit this colors to be set that. And we'll start at our at 0, 1. And then we'll also draw a line based on So our line would be from P plus 2, or no, this would be from 0, and then our Y would be 2, or sorry, P plus 2, 2. Now our resolution at this point could be anything, so let's just put 100, and then P plus 2, like that. Whoa. Oh, we didn't register line. And our error screen isn't showing up, which is probably because when an error happens in the program, it calls homescreen.menu, which should bring us there. I'm going to put this here once and try rerunning that. So the question is, why isn't this this menu showing up? It's like totally blank. Huh. Maybe it's just the way that this is constructed, or maybe there's an error in it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out why these error screens aren't working though at some point. It's a bug right now. But I believe that the problem is just that we never registered our line. Yeah, so there's our interesting, our range of colors. Ah, okay. Okay. So we got a line drawing, basic line, but let's try a different line here. Edit colors. No, we'll make a new one called so this one, what we'll just do is say line. I'm gonna do is set background to our white color, which is at, what I should do is put a index in there of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, and then I want to set the foreground to, what's a good color over white? Our blue, dark blue, which should be at 0, 1. And let's go line from 0, 0 to 10, 20. Let's say 100 to 200. And then we'll set another foreground color to 2. Line from 100, 200 to 0, 200. Or sorry, not 0, 0. We want this to be 100x with 0, like that. And we'd want this to be 0. And then we will pause, and then we escape. Index was outside the bounds of the array. I thought I protected against that. Oh, I do here. So what I should do is make it like this, maybe. And this will be just a private. It's not going to be publicly exposed. Plot. Let's try that. Okay, there we go. Let's make that so it's a little clearer. Not clear, but... so we're not going so extreme. 200 is kind of a lot. Maybe 64. I don't know. I'll set this to like 32. There's a lot to be desired in this editor. Ooh, that didn't draw very nicely at all for that extreme slope that I just put there. Like apparently there's, oh, it's like going way... Oh, why did that do that now? Oh, you know what I never did? I never cleared the draw, which is something I wanted to do here. So that it shows up with a white background. Yeah. So that line drawing algorithm is pretty bad when you get outside of certain extremes. But it's fine enough for small amounts like this, I suppose. Okay, so that's some line drawing stuff. Let's see here, what else we got? I think there's a couple of these that should be very simple that I might finish, and then I might call it good for today. So I've done pixel, I've done line, horizontal, and these two are really simple, so I'm just going to do those quick. Horizontal is literally just a draw along the y-axis. So it's like private void, or sorry, this would be public void horizontal into y, and then so this would display graph. So it'd start at 0 and go to the buffer dot get length of the 1 x plus plus plot x y. That's simple, and vertical is basically the same kind of thing. so X would be start at the Y0, go to the 0th, and we increase it up. And we swap out like that. So let's edit my lines and say set that to 3. Then we'll do horizontal at 10. 4, and then we'll go. And that didn't actually escape. It's just the editor is really not great. Oh. Lines. Oh, so that one worked. Oh, I never actually executed these. Or sorry, I never added those two to the program, to the API. And this is probably closer to pixels, so horizontal takes a single int, horizontal, and this is vertical, and takes a single integer and vertical. There we go. So that works. You can see it's brown and green, purple. Like that. What I should do, there's some things, usability things that I need to kind of think through with the menuing system. For instance, like if I'm going to go here and I'm like, oh, I really want to edit it, it shouldn't reset that. And then when I create a new one, it should immediately go to edit because that's what's kind of expected. And then the lines, or sorry, when I could keep the state going there, but so I think that's where I might end it today. I gotta go for bio break anyways, so we have circle, rectangle, circle, rectangle, sprite, store pick, recall pick, all left to do. But I'm going to leave those for another day. Okay, let me save this off and we're good. All right, for anyone out there, thanks for watching, and have a wonderful Christmas if I'm not streaming, or happy holidays if you are not a Christmas follower. So, bye-bye.